I bought my first house 3 months ago. It was a small, two-bedroom place in what seemed like the perfect quiet neighborhood tucked away from traffic, framed by thick rows of trees and filled with older homes and older folks who mostly kept to themselves. Peaceful, safe, or at least that's what I thought. The house next to mine sat lower on the hills, its backyard backing up to mine with only a flimsy chain-link fence between. The first time I saw my neighbor, he was standing there on his back deck, motionless, arms at his side, just staring across the yard like he was looking at something only he could see. He was always doing that. At first I brushed it off. Maybe he liked the view. Maybe he was meditating or something. But then I started noticing he'd been out there every day, sometimes for hours, just standing. Not drinking coffee, not on his phone, just staring. I finally approached him one Saturday morning when I saw him raking leaves. I needed to clean up my yard and hadn't bought a rake yet, so I figured it was harmless to ask.
Hey, sorry to bother you. Mind if I borrow your rake for a bit?
He didn't look up right away, just kept raking slowly like he hadn't heard me. And he stopped, turned his head slightly, and said in a low, dry voice,
Don't come on my property again.
I blinked, caught off guard,
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
but he was already walking back towards the house, dragging the rake behind him. I didn't try to talk to him after that. Then, about a week ago, I woke up around 2:30 in the morning. No reason, just that eerie restlessness that sometimes shakes you out of sleep. I got up to grab a glass of water and glanced out the kitchen window. He was in his backyard. At first I thought he was just standing again, but then I saw the shovel. He was digging a deep narrow hole in the far corner of his yard. I couldn't look away. After maybe 15 minutes, he stopped and looked around and pulled something wrapped in a trash bag from under his deck. He unwrapped it carefully. It was a laptop. He stared at the screen for a minute, lit up blue in the darkness, then placed it in the hole and began to cover it back up with dirt. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. After that, I started noticing more odd behavior. He'd pace up and down his backyard muttering to himself. One time, I swear I saw him putting something into a duffel bag that looked stained. He always had the blinds down, but sometimes at night, I see a flicker of light coming from the basement window, like he was using a flashlight down there. No other lights on in the house. Then last week, the cops came. Marked cars, unmarked SUVs, at least 6 of them. They swarmed the house just after sunrise. I stood at my window watching the whole thing unfold. Rifles drawn, shouting, kicking in the door. It was like a scene from a movie. They carried him out in cuffs. His face was calm, as if he had been expecting them. That night on the news, I saw it. His name, his face, the headline, "Local man arrested in connection with multiple homicides." They found evidence inside, photos, blood, tools, maps. But I knew something they didn't. They never found that laptop. I never told the police about it. I couldn't. What if he had found out? What if someday, somehow, he got out? I can still see him standing in the hole under that moonlight, his face blank, like he was just taking out the trash. I still think about what was on that laptop. Emails, photos, videos. I guess I'll never know. And honestly, maybe that's for the best. It's always been a quiet life for my wife and me. We live in the middle of nowhere, literally. The kind of place where you don't know the neighbors, you probably won't see them for months at a time. The kind of place where the silence can feel unsettling, like something's just waiting for you to break it. And most nights, I wouldn't have it any other way. We've got our house, some peace, and each other. And that's all I really need. Last night started like any other. We had dinner. Just a simple meal, some chicken, mashed potatoes. My wife Sarah did most of the cooking. We chatted about our day, laughed a little, and talked about the things we had to do around the house the next day. It wasn't anything exciting, but it felt normal, comforting. After dinner, I stepped outside for a smoke. I've got a spot by the edge of the woods far enough from the house that the smoke doesn't blow right back in. As I was taking a drag, I saw something that made me pause. 2 flashlights flickering through the trees, moving in the distance. I didn't think much of it at the time. Probably someone walking through the woods, maybe a couple of kids or hunters. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary for this area. The woods are dense and often play tricks on your eyes. So I finished my smoke, went inside, and we settled in to watch some TV. We were getting ready for bed when the doorbell rang. It was around 1 a.m., and I didn't expect anyone at this hour. I didn't even want to answer it, but I figured it could be something important. I opened the door, and no one was there. I looked around, confused, but there was nothing in sight. No car in the driveway, just the empty road leading to our house, dark and quiet. I chalked it up to a prank or some weird mistake, and I went back to the couch. I told Sarah, but she wasn't too worried about it. We shrugged it off and tried to get back to the show we were watching. But then, a few moments later, the doorbell rang again. This time I was getting a little annoyed. Who the hell was messing around at this time of night? I got up and went to the door again. I checked outside. Nothing. The porch light cast long shadows on the empty driveway. No cars, no people, nothing. I was starting to get frustrated now. I wasn't in the mood for games, and I wasn't in the mood to be kept up. The doorbell rang for a 3rd time. By now, I'm getting pissed. I opened the door, ready to say something harsh, but what I saw stopped me cold. 2 muscular guys, both easily over 6 foot tall, were standing there, their faces shadowed by the porch light. They looked out of place, like they didn't belong. One of them stepped forward and asked if they could use my phone. I was taken back. I wasn't expecting anyone to need help in the middle of nowhere at this hour. I hesitated for a second and told them, "Sorry, my phone doesn't get good service out here." The guy didn't seem to care. He just nodded and said their car had broken down somewhere along the road and they needed a ride into town. My gut told me something wasn't right, but I still didn't think much of it. Maybe they were just stranded. But then, before I could even respond, they shoved me backward. I hit the floor with the thud, pain exploding in my shoulder. I tried to get up, but it was too late. The 2 guys were already inside, and they were fast. They slammed the door behind them, and one of them threw me back onto the floor while the other grabbed Sarah, yanking her from the couch. I don't know why I didn't scream. Maybe I was in shock. Maybe I was trying to think, trying to come up with a way out, but I couldn't. They tied us up, my arms and legs bound tightly with rope. The kind of knots that even if I struggled, I'd never get out of. My wife's terrified eyes met mine, and all I could do was try to reassure her with my gaze, though I didn't have any comfort to offer. Then the real horror began. The guy closest to the TV turned it on and started flickering through channels. He landed on a strange station, and suddenly, the room was filled with a haunting version of the Tiptoe Through the Tulips, the creepy song by Tiny Tim. It was surreal, disturbing. The 2 of them started laughing. One of them looked at us and said,
You guys have no idea how much this is going to hurt.
I could barely comprehend what they were saying through the dizziness that was setting in. The laughter, the laughter made my skin crawl as they started going through our things, one by one. It was like they were taking their time, enjoying every second of it. They took everything. My computer, my TV, Sarah's jewelry, things we had worked for years to acquire. They weren't even valuable to most people, but to us, it was everything. My guitar, my camera gear, Sarah's heirloom bracelet her grandmother had passed down to her, it was all gone. Every item they took felt like a piece of us, a piece of our lives, and the whole time, they just laughed, taunted us with cruel remarks, their voice echoing in the background as Tiny Tim's song played on repeat. When they finally left, it felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My heart was racing. I couldn't breathe. And once they were gone, I was left with the horror knowing that they were out there, somewhere, maybe watching us from the dark, Somehow, I managed to untie myself. My hands were raw from struggling. I quickly ran over to Sarah and freed her. She was shaking, terrified, her face pale, streaked with tears. I grabbed my phone, and thankfully, I could get enough service to dial 911. It felt like hours had passed, but the police came eventually. I gave them every detail, every piece of information I could remember. But those guys were long gone by the time they arrived. They took everything, our valuables, our peace of mind, and our sense of security. But I'll tell you this, I won't let them take our lives. They can take everything we own, but they'll never take us. And wherever they are, whatever hole they crawled into, I hope they know this. I'm coming for them. Because there's no way in hell I'm going to let something like this happen again. Not to us. And I won't ever forget that goddamn song.